Hi, been asked by several viewers if I can show and do a quick field strip on a modern submachine gun, and we do have one here. This is the H&K MP5. This is the A2 variation, the A2 variation being a fixed stock. There is a A3 variation that has a sliding collapsible buttstock on it. The MP5's been around since 1966. Used extensively by SWAT organizations, anti-terrorist groups, Interpol, a lot of police departments here in the United States use them, FBI, ATF, and special forces use them as well. It's chambered in 9x19, but there are other calibers available. You can get it in 40 caliber and 10 millimeter. Rate of fire is about 700 rounds per minute. It is select fire and uses what's called a delayed blowback operation, so it's not gas operated. What we're going to do is just do a quick field strip and go over some of the highlights of the weapon itself. First of all, what we're going to show is you have a very short barrel here with 3 protrusions on it. It's called the 3-lug barrel, and what that's for is for the 3-lug adapted suppressor. It's a spring-loaded affair, simply slides on, a quick twist, and it locks in place. So it's pretty easy to access. This unit here is a Gemtech 9mm. It's a maintenance-free unit, self-contained, pretty quiet, especially since the MP5 fires from the closed bolt position. You don't have that constant open bolt operation and clatter. Alright, the front sights. It's a protective ring with a single blade inside. It's not adjustable, but you can replace the blades with ones of various heights for elevation. Your rear sight has 2 screws, one on the top, one on the side for elevation and windage. The dial here on top does not change elevation like a lot of people think it does, even though it's contrary to what the other H&K family has. This one just has a series of 4 holes with different sizes for allowing different light variations as you're acquiring the front ring. It's pretty quick on target acquisition, but it does not change elevation on rotation of the drum. This little sight unit here, this is what I've added here on top. This is a little reflective type sight. Uses much the same technology as the heads-up display in modern jet fighters. Basically a little picture is displayed up on this little screen here. Different type rectals. I think you have 4 different settings on this one and 7 different light intensity settings. So it's kind of like a little hologram sight. Works really well in quick target acquisition and a heads-up display without actually having to line up 2 targets. Alright, you have on the mag well here, you have a paddle thumb mag release and a side finger, index finger button as well. The magazines. This is the typical curved magazines, 30 round, double stack configuration. Most awfully seen. There's also a straight stick mag, not too often seen, also 30 round, double stack configuration. Both of them work equally as well. Alright, first thing we're going to do on the stripping is to remove the front sling. Simply unclip off the little metal eye here. The buttstock. You have a single push pin, just pops out and slides off the buttstock. And the H&K designers came up with a really neat feature used in a lot of H&K firearms. It has a single pin here that holds the front of the trigger assembly to the receiver, and when removing the buttstock, it simply allows the swing to come down. So they call this just basically a swing lower. It allows you to simply pull out your bolt carrier assembly without having to remove this from the receiver. We're going to go ahead and push out the single push pin and remove it. And we can also remove the front handguard by a single push pin, and just simply slides off. It's a single molded polymer unit as well. And here you can get a better idea of the barrel and gas, excuse me, it's not the gas tube, it's the cocking tube. A lot of people do misinterpret that by seeing AKs in the past. This is not a gas tube, it is what's called a cocking tube. It just basically houses the cocking mechanism for the firearm. The charging handle can be removed by a hammer and punch. Alright, and the receiver is a stamped metal type receiver. It's fairly thick. It will hold up to a lot of abuse. Okay, on the bolt and bolt carrier, and the recoil spring just simply pops off. It's a single strand spring held on each end. The bolt simply just twists and removes, as does the firing pin and firing pin holder. The bolt, if you look at it close, you'll see two little rollers on either side. That's not designed exclusively for the MP5. That is also a design carryover from the famous MG42 of World War II fame. Works quite well, locks into recesses on the inside of the receiver. Alright, on the trigger group you have also one molded solid piece polymer. To remove the internals, you simply turn the selector lever into the vertical position and remove it, and slide out what's called the trigger pack. The trigger pack basically is all the trigger components with the hammer, sear, springs, all contained in a metal framework. So if anything goes wrong, you can simply replace this trigger pack instantly and be back in business. The only other thing I see is, a lot of people ask me, what's the two holes on the buttstock for? It's a long H&K tradition. It goes back a long way, actually, even to the Setme rifle from Spain. What it does simply is just holds the single pin, the retaining pin for the buttstock. It's just a keeper. Keeps it in place while you're field stripping the unit. A lot of times you will carry a spare as well, in case you lose one. Alright, that takes care of the description. Let's do a quick reassembly. The H&K MP5 is very, very accurate, very well controlled under full auto conditions. And it's probably why it's going to be in service for very many years to come in the future. Okay, we have it all together. Check the weapon, make sure the chamber is clear, and the function of the weapon is ready to go. So there you go. It's the H&K MP5 A2 variation.